What's up guys, and Fernip here, and this video is actually a follow-up to my previous video that I did yesterday. It's in the description below. I'll give you 5 seconds to click on the link. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, you watched it, welcome back. Today I'm going to be figuring out which generation had the best movies. I really like all the movies from the generations, and I've actually wondered under myself which generation of Pokemon had the best movies. So that's what I'm going to try to be figuring out today. To figure this out, I'm going to be putting all the scores that I put in my last video, put them all together and find out the average score of each generation. And whichever has the highest score has the best set of movies, in my opinion. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, and also let me know what you think is the best Pokemon movie, and which generation you think had the best set of movies. So without further ado, let's get into the video. To find the average score, I need to take each number that I gave the movie from the generations, and I add them both together, then divide it by the amount of movies that were in the generation. So let me do for an example with the generation 1. I gave Mewtwo Strikes Back 7.5, and then I gave the Power of 1 5.5. So if I add both them together, that'll make 13. And as there were 2 movies in that generation, I then take 13 and divide it by 2, which gives me an average of 6.5. Okay, now we move on to Gen 2. Alright, the Spell of Unknown got 4.5, the Pokemon Forever got 7, and Pokemon Heroes, Latios and Latias got 5. If we add all of those together, it gives us a score of 16.5. Then we divide it by 3, which gives us an average of 5.5. Okay, now we move on to Gen 3. Jirachi the Wishmaker got 6, Destiny Deoxys got 8, Lucario and the Mystery Mew got 9, and Pokemon Ranger and the Temple of the Sea got 3.5. If we add all those scores together, it will give us a total score of 26.5. And we have to divide it by 4, which then gives us an average score of 6.6. Alright, now we move on to Gen 4. The Rise of Darkrai got 10, the Shaman and the Sky Warrior got 9, Arceus and the Jewel of Life got 10, and Zoroark and the Master of Delusions got 9.5. That would give us a score of 38.5, but then when we divide it by 4, it gives us a total or average score of 9.6. Okay, now we move on to Gen 5. Both the Victini movies got 3, the Kyurem versus the Sword of Justice got 5, and Genesect and Legend Awakens got 6. All of that adds up to a score of 14, but when we divide it by 3, it gives us an average score of 4.6. Alright, now we move on to Gen 6. Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction got 7, Hooper and the Clash of Ages got 9, and Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel got 8.5. That'll give us a total score of 24.5, but when we divide it by 3, it will then give us an average score of 8.1. And finally, we have Gen 7. Now, I just want to say, as time me filming this, Gen 7's movies haven't been fully completed just yet. I'm not sure if they're going to bring any more new ones out. They may not. I'm not sure. So I'm going to have to stick with the 2 that I've already seen. Pokemon I Choose You got after the score of 10, and Pokemon The Power of Us got a score of 6. That'll give us a score of 16, but when we divide it by 2, it will give us an average score of 8. Now that I have every average score of each generation, I'm now going to put down which generation was last place up until first place. I'm also going to mention what they could do to make the movies better, because there's always room to improve. In last place, we have Gen 5 with the average score of 4.6. Was there any doubt that I wasn't going to put Gen 5 in last place? Literally, I hate Gen 5 with a passion. Not because of the games and the anime, because of the movies as well. Like, everything about Gen 5 sucks. Like, there are some highlights in Gen 5, but the majority of it sucks. The main reason I put Gen 5 movies in last place, because they really lacked villains. Like, villains are really essential for movies. Like, you could say that they did have a couple villains, like the Genesect, Kyurem, and that Damien guy, but To be honest, that Damien guy is a kid trapped in a grown man's body, and I hate it when the villains are like Pokemon, because Mewtwo did it far better than anybody else. No one can out-defeat Mewtwo when it comes to a Pokemon villain. Like, I think from now on, all villains should be humans, not Pokemon. Not only that, like, the majority of the Pokemon movies in Gen 5 really lacks a good story and plot. Like, literally, somehow, in the first Gen 5 movie, Victini passed down some of its power to Otepic and Scraggy, and they both knocked out fully evolved, extremely powerful Pokemon with only one attack. But that is so absurd. When it comes to Kieran versus the Swords of Justice, the only good thing about it was the animation. Everything about it was utter crap. When it comes to Gen 6 and The Legends Awakened, that one was pretty good, but there have been way, way better Pokemon movies than that. So that's why I put Gen 5 in last place. In 6th place, we have Gen 2, which has an average score of 5.5. Literally, the only good movie that came out in Gen 2 was Pokemon Forever. The other two were either really childish and lacked a good villain, and the other one was, well, just dark and also lacked a good villain. Like, the other two really lacked a really good villain. Like, in Pokemon Forever, the Iron Mask Murano, or whatever his name was, he was a great villain. Like, I cannot think of many villains that can outdo him. Spell of Unknown had a childish story and plot line, and literally most of the lines were extremely cringy. Like I said in my previous video, the little girl whose name was Molly, I think it was, she referred to her parents as Mama and Papa, and she was like 5 years old. She could have at least learned how to say Mummy and Daddy. Like, Mama and Papa just makes you want to cringe. And when I watch Pokemon Heroes, I think they didn't really put that much money in it, because it was extremely poorly made. Like, I actually stars, wrote, and produced my own short film back in my secondary school, and I think that was even better than this pile of shit. In 5th place, we have Gen 1 with an average score of 6.5. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear that I love Mewtwo Strikes Back. That is literally one of my favourite Pokemon movies of all time. But I'm not talking about that. The main issue with the Gen 1 movies is because of Pokemon The Power of One. Now, I really like what they did when all three of the legendary birds attacks each other, it could eventually destroy the world. That was pretty cool. But the problem was, the lines were awful, the villain was crap, and above all else, I hated when that Melody girl kept referring to Misty as Ash's girlfriend literally every 5 bloody minutes. Not only that, I really hate the villain. Like, the movie villain is just... he is so annoying. Like, I cannot bear him. I will never watch Mewtwo The Power of One ever again. In 4th place, we have Gen 3 with an average score of 6.6. Gen 3 had the same problem with Gen 1. They couldn't advance to even greater heights because of one movie alone. Literally, the first 3 that came out were extremely good in their own ways. But when it came into the Manaphy movie, it was one of the worst, if not the worst, Pokemon movie of all time. Like, literally, I'm sure loads of people would agree with me that this was one of the worst Pokemon movies of all time. What needed to change was, like, the childish plotline, the crappy villain, and literally everything about it needed to change. I cannot think of a good point in that movie where I actually enjoyed it. It was bloody awful. Putting all of that aside, like, the other 3 movies were alright. Like, I think that the Jirachi movie did need to change slightly, but it wasn't as bad as the Manaphy one. But the other two, Destiny Deoxys and Lucario the Mystery of Mew, they were some of the best Pokemon movies ever. And they didn't even have like a proper villain, if you know what I mean. Like, that was definitely one of two of the best movies of all. Okay, time to get into the top 3. At number 3, we have Gen 7 with an average score of 8. The main reason Gen 7 and hasn't actually gone any higher is because A, this is like the newest one out of the batch, and B, they haven't, as far as we know, they haven't actually finished the movie set. So we don't know if there's going to be any new ones coming out, so I couldn't put it any higher than 3. Now, the I Choose You movie is easily the best one so far. It is literally my third favourite movie of all time. If you haven't seen my top 10 favourite movie video, you should. And I definitely think that this is like the perfect movie. It couldn't have been better in any way possible. But the main problem is with the newest movie that's come out last year. That was Pokemon The Power of Us. I gotta say, that was super weird. Like, the story was really wonky, and not a tremendous amount of it made sense. I really like the idea of that like having a Pokemon catching contest, but I didn't really enjoy it as much as I did the others. There are so many other ones out there that are so much better than Pokemon The Power of Us. Like, that's the main reason I actually gave it a 6. But I did still really enjoy it because, well, it's Pokemon. At number 2, we have Gen 6 with an average score of 8.1. Now, I'm sure everybody has figured out what number 1 is, but let's just put that aside for now, and let me talk about Gen 6. The thing about our Gen 6 is that they really lacked an awesome villain. Like, they didn't have like some of the best villains of all. Like, there's some that were really good, some were really bad. Like, for instance, like the Diancie movie, like they had some of the crappiest villains out of all of the franchise. Like, I could easily name some of the better villains, such as Zero from and Giratina and the Sky Warrior. And there are so many other great villains out there. But putting that aside, I do really love all of the movies from Gen 6. Like, they are some of the best movies. Like Diancie, yes, wasn't the best out of the batch, but it was the first one, so it kind of makes sense. But the other two, they were also in my top 10 favourite movie video, and I really enjoyed it for entirely different reasons. I love Hooper and the Clash of Ages because of the huge, legendary Pokemon fight. Like, that was so entertaining to watch. Like, I even saw one of my favourite Mega Evolutions, Shiny Mega Rayquaza. I remember I wanted that Mega for such a long time, and it took me ages to finally get the event Shiny Rayquaza that was brought out back in Gen 6. And that literally beat the crap out of so many of my opponents. Even took down loads of opponents from my mate David, also known as Dr. Amnesia. Not only that, the story and plot were absolutely amazing. Like, there are very few new Pokemon movies out there that have a great story and plot, but this one was definitely, it had some of the best story and plot lines out of all of the Pokemon franchise. And I love Volcanion and Mechanical Marvel because of all of those Mega Evolutions. Like, they had some of the best Mega Evolutions out there. And I also quite liked it because, well, Ash Greninja. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed both of those movies, like, for many different reasons. And I definitely think that these movies need to get more praise than they do, because they don't really get much praise. Like, they mainly focus on the older movies, but still, I still think that these movies are some of the best. And shock horror, number 1 is Gen 4 with an average score of 9.6. Gen 4 is here because I love Gen 4. That's it. That's the end of the video. See ya. I'm only joking, and guys, I'll go a bit more in depth. My childhood, literally, it grew up with Gen 4. The first Pokemon episode that I ever saw was when Chimchar was struggling, well, not struggling, but getting used to how Ash and the gang lives. And I gotta say, it was quite entertaining to watch Gen 4 Pokemon. I thoroughly enjoyed every second of watching that episode. So it would make sense that I pick like Gen 4 or as my top of like movie generation, but because A, it's my childhood, and B, they were some of the best movies of all time. I can't think of a single flaw about the Pokemon movies. Like, I would even binge watch them right now. Like, I even have them on DVD. I'm not even lying, look. Rise of Darkrai, Giratina and the Sky Warrior, Arceus and the Jewel of Life, and Zoroark, Master of Illusions. And the best part about the Gen 4 movies, the first 3 were actually canon. Like, I actually believe so because, well, A, literally, they cut of like the first like 2 movies in the Arceus and the Jewel of Life movie, and not only that, in Rise of Darkrai, Dawn got a lunar wing pendant off this old hippie guy, and then later on in the anime, like at the end of season 11, I think it was, she had the same lunar wing pendant that she showed to Officer Jenny. So I believe that they were canon, and I'm not surprised why. They were some of the best movies of all time. And not only that, they introduced me to some of my favourite Pokemon, such as Arceus, Zoroark, and above all, my favourite mythical Pokemon, Darkrai. I cannot explain how much I love Darkrai. It's so badass. He's basically a hero in the Rise of Darkrai movie, and I thoroughly enjoy watching a single episode as long as they have a Darkrai in it. And that's why Gen 4 was, well, also pretty predictable. And it had to be at number 1. I'm sure many of you were expecting me to put like Gen 4 here. Like, I'm like, it was pretty predictable, but still, Gen 4, in my opinion, is easily the best generation of all time when it comes to the anime, the games, and especially the movies. And there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did, and let me know down in the comment section below if you think I was wrong, if you think like another generation of movies was better. And even better, let me know in the comment section what your favourite Pokemon movie is and why. Also, let me know like what videos you want me to do like more of. Like that way, I can get a better idea on what you guys like enjoy most on this channel. Do you enjoy the Pokemon themed episodes? Like, do you enjoy my top 10s? Do you enjoy my music videos? Like, let me know so we can get a little conversation going. Also, a quick life update. Do you remember when I said that I auditioned for Britain's Got Talent? Yeah, I didn't even get to perform in front of the judges, so yeah, but it doesn't really matter. I can always audition next year. If you want me to perform on the song that I did for my audition, let me know down in the comment section and I'll do it. Or even better yet, let's get this video to at least 5 thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel to be an Inferno today. Okay, that's all from me, so until the next time, this is Infernape, signing off. Bye!